Hello, I'm Laura Painter. Starting January 1st, many new laws will go into effect in California, impacting everything from your bank account to housing and much more. Let's start with a law that's already been in place for more than a year, but come January, you'll be fined for violating it. ABC 10's Devin Truby explains daylighting.
With a new year brings new laws to follow.
It feels like that pedestrian came out of nowhere.
We've all said it, and this law, commonly referred to as daylighting or crosswalk parking restrictions, is designed to keep pedestrians safe. It took effect in January 2024, but only warnings were given. In January 2025, you can now be fined for parking in prohibited areas. Here are the rules of daylighting. You can no longer park within 20 feet of a crosswalk or 15 feet of a crosswalk with a curb. An important note, this applies to the area leading up to the crosswalk. Once you drive through it, you can park along the street next to it.
This new law, starting in January 1st, people who park within that 20 feet can be ticketed, even if the curb isn't red and there's no signage.
If you want to see an example of changes made for the new law, look no further than the Broadway corridor, 20 feet of red painted curb before you get to this crosswalk. The city of Sacramento says this is just one of the areas in the region that's already received the new treatment in order to increase safety for pedestrian and cyclists.
More room for pedestrians to come out and see cars coming, and more room for drivers to see the pedestrians.
Jennifer Rubin is with Safe Kids Sacramento and believes this law will help keep pedestrians safe.
Kids are just shorter and smaller and harder to see, and also less predictable, right? They're more likely to run out or not be paying as close attention. And so as much as we can do to teach kids to look both ways and pause for traffic, it's also good to give drivers a head start to see them.
The move to start fining violators also comes at a time when Sacramento City Council declared a state of emergency regarding pedestrian safety after a report revealed in the last decade there have been over 5,000 collisions involving bikes and people and at least 264 preventable fatalities.
Is a traffic violence epidemic.
Kendra Ramsey with the California Bicyclist Coalition says she met with the city of Sacramento and was told their public works department was working to make the necessary changes.
This is one of those systemic measures that is applied throughout the entire roadway system. No one wants to see a traffic collision.
Reporting, Devin Truby, ABC 10.
The city of Sacramento says the current violation is $60. New fines would need to be approved by city council. California is now one of more than 40 states with daylighting laws. There are several new laws relating to employment. First, the minimum wage is going up 50 cents to $16.50 an hour. Also, employers can no longer require you to use up to 2 weeks of vacation before you can start to use paid family leave benefits. And paid sick leave is expanding. People can use their sick time for time off if they or a family member are the victims of a violent crime. When it comes to housing and homelessness, Governor Gavin Newsom signed several new laws requiring cities and counties to better plan for housing for very low-income people. And as ABC 10's Jeannie Wynn reports, expanded some renters' protections.
32 bills will be pressed, all across the spectrum around streamlining, transparency, accountability, renter protections.
Of the dozens of bills signed by Governor Gavin Newsom, a portion of them addressed housing protections for people living in rentals.
We believe that they did provide a balance and in some cases are positive, certainly for both landlords and tenants.
The California Apartment Association provides education and legislative affairs for rental property owners and tenants. Some of the bills impacting the CAA, Assembly Bill 2801 regarding security deposits. While the CAA says it's already existing in the law, this bill allows for more clarifications.
What it will require rental property owners to do is do some proof. So when the tenant moves in, they're going to take pictures of the unit to show the condition that existed.
Assembly Bill 2747 will allow tenants with good rental history to be reflected in their credit scores.
Down the line, the next landlord will know that this tenant was a good tenant when it came to paying rent on time. So it's positive for both landlords and tenants.
Senate Bill 611 prevents landlords from charging renters a fee if rent is paid by check.
That, quite frankly, is something that we agreed with, and that's not necessarily a negative thing for rental property owners. We already have the right to charge fee if the check bounces.
Lastly, Senator Tom Umberg's Senate Bill 900 addresses people living within a homeowners association, providing them protections regarding issues with utilities like gas and electricity.
What SB 900 says is if the homeowners association board doesn't act, then the management company can start to act so that people aren't left in limbo.
Lawmakers and the governor say the point of these bills is to provide affordable housing options for Californians.
The housing crisis continues to be a top priority for the California legislature. Governor Newsom signed dozens of bills set to take effect in the new year. ABC 10's Devin Truby looks at two of them that'll make an impact locally.
Building anything in California is difficult.
The housing crisis continues to be an issue across the state. One solution is accessible dwelling units or ADUs, but building them is no small task, according to local contractors.
Building a single ADU is also, California's done better with making it more streamlined, but it's still very difficult.
SB 1211 was signed into law and takes effect in January to streamline the process. Currently, you can have no more than 2 ADUs on a property. The new law increased the limit to 8.
It's up to legislators to balance how that's all going to work with the communities. But for us in construction, obviously, we want to build. That's what we do for a living. So anything that helps us build is going to be good for our industry.
It also streamlines the process by having less restrictions from local agencies on things like design.
More homes at a more affordable rate. Family members can afford to move closer to home, and it's more work for contractors.
These new laws meant to help the housing market and the economy.
We have a massive housing shortage in California.
It's why Democrat Senator Scott Wiener is one of many legislators to author housing bills like penalties for cities not complying with housing laws.
Some cities, not most cities, but some cities have refused to follow state housing laws. And the existing law really doesn't hold them accountable because they can force a lawsuit from the state, and if they lose, there are no consequences to losing other than having to follow the law.
The senator says, sadly, there needs to be consequences. SB 1037 adds enforcement actions. If the attorney general has to sue a city for not complying with housing laws and the city loses, come 2025, the city can be fined. Fines range from $10,000 to $50,000 a month, plus court costs. That money then gets allocated for affordable housing in that area. Attorney General Rob Bonta released a statement back in September thanking the governor and the senator for the new law. With SB 1037 violating our state housing laws and delaying or denying the homes that Californians desperately need can lead to more serious consequences than ever before. And let me be clear, my office will not hesitate to pursue those consequences when appropriate. Reporting, Devin Truby, ABC 10.
Both of these laws go into effect January 1st. Combating retail theft has been a top goal for lawmakers this year. Now they hope 10 new laws will do just that. The laws give law enforcement more tools to push back against organized retail crime.
We see it across the state. Retail theft hitting stores large and small. But on January 1st, 10 new laws will take effect aimed at cracking down on smash and grabs and closing loopholes.
And they will address the challenges that are well outside the purview of previous initiatives and laws like Prop 47.
Among the new legislation, a major crackdown on theft rings, allowing district attorneys to add up the value of thefts from different stores in different counties to reach the $950 threshold for grand theft, which McGeorge School of Law adjunct professor Chris McCaley says will bring a stiffer penalty.
They're also trying to basically aggregate where somebody has engaged in retail theft in multiple jurisdictions, that they can aggregate those offenses and prosecute them in one county.
Other laws create sentencing enhancement for selling stolen property valued at $50,000 or more and allows law enforcement to arrest a retail theft suspect without actually witnessing the crime.
Perpetrators who are looking to skirt our laws and exploit potential loopholes, those days are over. Those loopholes are closed.
Another law increases penalties for car break-ins and auto theft and creates a new crime for possessing stolen property taken during a vehicle theft or unlawful entry of a car.
These 10 laws address gaps that made it more difficult for law enforcement and prosecutors to bring perpetrators to justice.
In November, voters approved Prop 36, which is also aimed at tackling retail theft. ABC 10's Roxanne Elias tells us why Sacramento County leaders believe this will actually make a difference.
Proposition 36 goes into effect on December 18, 2024. We will be measured and fair, but make no mistake about it, we will hold people accountable.
Proposition 36, in effect Wednesday, allows for felony charges and increases sentences for certain drug and theft crimes. Sacramento County District Attorney Tin Ho promises it will mark a new era for law enforcement dealing with retail theft, drug addiction, and homelessness in the county. About a month ago, California voters approved Proposition 36 by nearly 70%. One of those voters, small business owner Alan Leatherby, who owns multiple Leatherby's Family Creamery locations. He says his store in Arden Arcade has been hit the hardest.
We'd have theft in our stores. We had regular people that would come in, sometimes every single day and steal from us. And what do? And you call the police and they get right back out the next day.
Sacramento County Sheriff Jim Cooper says so far this year, they've arrested around 1,000 people for retail theft, and about 80 to 90% were given citations. But now with Prop 36, he expects a change in the behavior of reoffending.
Because it really changed the landscape, because up until now, if you stayed below 950, you got a citation and didn't go to jail. Now if you have 2 convictions, that third conviction becomes a wobbler. It can become a felony and really has some teeth into it.
Prop 36 also creates a new treatment-focused court process for some drug possession crimes. And it requires courts to warn people convicted of selling or providing illegal drugs to others that they can be charged with murder if they keep doing so and someone dies.
Right now, we're creating a working group with all the different law enforcement agencies in the county and in the region with the other DA's office to set up protocols and procedures.
They're also making retail theft resources available to businesses, such as sharing webinars. This is one of the warning signs businesses can request, which says this is a protected business and gives a barcode, making it easier to report crime.
I'm excited for, getting these businesses back up and going, especially I'm an advocate for the small family businesses, obviously.
The DA's office now has a page set up where you can learn more about Prop 36 and what it means. It also lists how business owners and residents can ask for assistance. We have a link on our website, abc10.com. There are several new laws that'll affect your bottom line, from overdraft fees to subscriptions, even medical debt. Here are more laws to look out for in 2025.
The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau estimates 23 million households pay overdraft fees each year.
If I overdraw by 25, I don't just have to get the 25 back to even. I have to pay 25 to get it to even and then an extra 35. As you can see, that can really put somebody even further in the hole than they already are.
Now the state is trying to help you with 2 new laws. First, state-chartered banks and credit unions won't be able to fine customers who go to withdraw money from their account but have insufficient funds. And if you're a credit union member, there's now a limit on how much they can charge for overdraft fees. These 2 new laws are aimed at protecting people with lower income.
It has been affecting people in a negative way for a very long time, and for the purposes of penalizing folks that don't necessarily have the cash flow to pay for these penalties as well.
Both take effect on January 1st. Also starting on the 1st, medical debt will not be included on your credit report. The law does not forgive your debt, it just keeps it off your credit reports. Medical debt can hurt people's credit scores and harm their chances of negotiating a loan or mortgage on favorable terms. But the law has a loophole. It will not apply to debt charged to so-called medical credit cards. Click to cancel. This new law is supposed to make it easier for you to cancel your subscriptions. It requires companies to revise their automatic renewals to let you cancel using the same method you used to sign up for the service. A recent survey from CNET finds consumers are spending an average of $91 a month on subscriptions. It's over $1,000 a year.
Many of these providers are slowly notching up the price of their subscriptions. It's not a lot, it's just $1 or $2 per year for most of them, but that really starts to add up.
This new law takes effect in July.
If you use food delivery services like Uber Eats and DoorDash, you'll soon be able to know more about the person delivering your order, like their name and their picture. This new law is designed to enhance customer safety. It goes into effect in March. If you're planning on booking a hotel or grabbing concert tickets in the new year, There's a change that could save you money. A new federal guideline will eliminate surprise so-called junk fees. Take a look.
Big change is on the way if you go online to book a hotel or buy tickets for an event. The Federal Trade Commission is finalizing a rule on so-called junk fees. It's frustrating and it's a time waster. When you're trying to book a hotel or concert tickets online, you spot a great rate on a website, but by the time you check out, there are tons of added surprise costs like resort fees or convenience fees known as junk fees. Now, the Federal Trade Commission says a new rule will take the surprise out of the final cost and could save consumers 53 million hours in wasted time searching for the total price, as well as about $11 billion in savings over a decade.
This should really provide the American people with just some more clarity and confidence so they don't feel like they're getting, cheated. This is really about saving people money and saving people time.
The new rule will get rid of junk fees by requiring that live event tickets, hotels, and vacation rentals disclose all pricing up front. The total price also has to be displayed more prominently than any other costs. FTC Chair Lena Khan says this means you'll know exactly what you're paying from the start.
Whatever price you see is the price that you are paying at the end. No more mystery surprise fees at the very end of the process, which really cheat consumers and also punish honest businesses.
The rule, which officially takes effect around April next year, is part of a broader push from the Biden administration to lower costs as households have been plagued by stubborn inflation. Last week, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau announced a final rule to curb bank overdraft fees.
These junk fees have really proliferated across the economy, and I would want to make sure that future enforcers and future policymakers were taking on these junk fees across the economy.
The U.S. Chamber of Commerce has opposed the change, calling it nothing more than an attempt to micromanage pricing structures of businesses. But the FTC chair says she's confident it would hold up to challenges in court. Allison Cossack, ABC News, New York.
The new legislative session kicked off in December with a special session focusing on preparing the state for what lawmakers believe will be challenges with the Trump administration. Democrat lawmakers are prioritizing issues like reproductive rights, immigration, and legal protections. ABC 10's Devin Truby explains why state leaders are planning to make a big investment in the fight.
It all started with the California State Assembly swearing in Robert Rivas, a Sacramento State graduate, once again elected Speaker of the Assembly during a time his colleagues say they will need his strength.
Especially with changes in Washington that will put to test our shared California values.
New rules adopted at the start of the session limits the number of bills Assembly members can introduce from 50 down to 35. Rivas promising the session will focus on the cost of living and audit of every department that has anything to do with housing. This is also the start of a special session called by Governor Gavin Newsom, who says it's to protect Californians from potential federal overreach ahead of the Trump administration.
If LGBTQ people come under attack, if hardworking immigrants are targeted, if women's reproductive freedom is threatened, we will fight back with everything we have.
Newsom is working with lawmakers to establish a special $25 million litigation fund for the California Department of Justice. During his last term, California sued the Trump administration more than 100 times.
California has a lot at stake. It has a checkered past with the Trump administration, and we're deeply concerned about making sure that we still have funding available for things like emergencies.
Newsom says he's looking to safeguard reproductive rights, marriage equality, the climate crisis, wildfire relief, and immigration. California Assembly Republican leader James Gallagher, who was also nominated for Speaker, says the special session is just Newsom posturing.
Gavin Newsom wants to run for president. That's what this is about. Is I want to fight Trump. I want to be the progressive darling. But here's the thing that is the real irony. Here's a governor who his state is struggling with the highest cost in the nation, highest unemployment rate in the nation right now, insurance crisis, cost of living crisis, and we call a special session to what? Pay more government lawyers money to sue Trump? It's tone deaf.
The session will reconvene January 6th. According to the governor's office, all of this proposed new legislation is supposed to make it to his desk to be signed into law by January 20th, 2025. Reporting from the Capitol, Devin Truby, ABC 10.
Women will make up 49% of the state legislature this term, with 37 in the Assembly and 21 in the Senate. Also making history, California State Senate Republicans will be majority women this year. Thanks so much for joining us. Remember, you can watch us anytime, any day on your schedule, free on the ABC 10 Plus streaming app, wherever you stream. I'm Laura Painter. See you next time.
This winter, let's hit the back roads as I explore California's best winter spots.
That's a lake trout.
From ice fishing to one of the biggest snow parks and even a romantic holiday gondola.
Buon Natale, Merry Christmas.
And all the winter fun in between.
What would you say is like the true meaning of Christmas?
Bartell's Backroads, California Hidden Winter Gems, streaming now on ABC 10 Plus.
Hope to see you on the Backroads.
Thanks for watching ABC 10 Plus. And now that you're here, why don't we take a look around and see what else is here? The very first tile on your left is always going to be streaming 24/7. You can find us adjacent to that, breaking news if it's there. And then right next to that, a replay of the most recent newscast. Whether it's ABC 10 Morning News at 5, 6, or beyond, it's going to be there. The forecast beyond that, and then right beyond that, the news that matters the most. Now that you know the basic tiles, let's go up to the top and take a deeper dive into news. We have every single newscast that you would need, including To the Point with Alex Bell, taking a deeper dive into the issues. Beyond that, ABC 10 Morning News at 5 and 6 and 11, the evening shows as well. Below that, you can watch the top stories from To the Point. Under that, Dollars and Cents, where you can learn how to navigate this challenging economy. And below that, you can watch our award-winning ABC 10 Special Investigations, where we hold the powerful accountable. Going into weather, look, it's the 10-day forecast, getting you ready for the weekend and beyond. Beyond that, sports. I know you care about the Sacramento Kings. We have the most comprehensive guide to anything, everything Kings in the locker room and on the court. We have it. Below that, I know you care about the San Francisco 49ers. We can't mention Bay Sports without talking about the Oakland A's. We have that too. What's super exciting, I know you care about high school sports. You'll never find a more comprehensive guide and team dedicated to high school sports. Backing out again, come up to the top and join me on Verify. I'm super excited about this. Our experts are checking the facts, verifying the truth for you. Jump up now to shows. Very excited about this. Oh, look, it's Take a Look. This is my show. I love movies, and if you love movies or streaming shows, whether it's on screens this big, or this big, it's Take a Look. Recently went behind the scenes, sat down with Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix to talk about Joker 2. I love the movie, and oh, I just heard you shout you hate the movie. Jump in, we talk about it on this show. Other shows, Bartell's Backroads, go up and down the state of California, tank of gas getaways, one fuel cell getaway, like places like the Toy Museum. This is what kids did before they had screens. Over here, the Moaning Caverns of Calaveras County, one of the most coveted caves in all of California. You know, watching this show, I discovered there's a cave that could fit the entire Statue of Liberty in your own backyard. You'll find about that and more with Bartell's Backroads. Down below that, To the Point. It is one of my favorite newscasts because they talk about news with Alex Bell the way you talk about news. It's conversational but in-depth at the same time. Below that, Your California Life. Love this show. Whether it's entertainment, food, beverage, lifestyle, it's there. Desiree Shepherd hosts and does an amazing job. So there you have it. It's ABC 10 Plus, the app. What do you need? We heard you and we got it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for streaming.